Ring of Honor, it all begins 2005. That's right, baby. We are entering a new year of Ring of Honor, a year full of lots of things. Samoa Joe's no longer the champion. Mick Foley's here again, main eventing the show, kinda. And we got half of the SmackDown Cruiserweight division coming to Ring of Honor. So a lot to get into. Big time show on deck. So strap in and strap on. It's the Apron Bump Podcast.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get started.
What's up, everybody? What the gosh darn heck is up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I, of course, am your host of the hardest part of the ring, Kyle. How is everybody doing today? Hope you are ready for a little honorous ring today, folks. It all begins 2005. That is the name of the show. Only one show in January of 2005. So this will be a bit of a simple episode where, sometimes we're covering, several nights, several weeks within a month. We're tying things together, and those are fun shows. But sometimes we just need to dial it back, have a little old school Apron Bump action. We just look at a show, we talk about it, we tickle each other until it burns, and then we go home. That is the modus operandi of the Apron Bump. Is that a term? Did I use that correctly? Probably not. But I'm excited to get into this show. There is a lot of big things happening, a lot of scuttlebutt to delve into. But before we do that, you might be jumping in cold. You might be asking yourself, hardest part of the Ring of Honor 2005. Well, what the heck happened in 2004 or 3 or 2? Well, hypothetical listener, I have got great news for you, because I've covered every single Ring of Honor event from the very beginning, from an era of honor begins back in February of 2002, every single show from there through 02, through 03, through 04, and now we are in 05. So if you want to go relive this chronological timeline of me watching a promotion that I have watched before, but I have not watched this era. So if you want to take a listen, take a watch to me having experts in Ring of Honor on, I've had people who have never seen a Ring of Honor show. I've had people that wrestled for Ring of Honor. If you want to see all of these discussions, these recaps, this reliving of one of the most fun eras of wrestling that has ever existed, I strongly encourage you, go check them out. There's a link in the description that'll bring you to all of the Ring of Honor episodes that I've done. It'll bring you to apronbump.com. It'll bring you to the filtered tab with all of the Ring of Honor shows, and you can click whatever show you want. They're all chronologically listed, and then when you click on the show, it'll allow you to select the app that you would like to listen on. Spotify, what else is there? Tune Spoon, I don't know. Whatever you listen to podcasts on, or YouTube. All the YouTube links are there as well. While you're just going to places, like, rate, review, thumbs up, poke me, kiss me, spit in my mouth, and call me a dirty little girl. Do all of those things. Follow me. All right, that's enough plugging. Let's get into this bad boy, shall we? Like I said, it all begins again. We are in, where are we? We are like Boston adjacent, right? You would think I would have this all prepped up here. This show is coming to you from the National Guard Armory in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We got about 700 rabid Ring of Honor fans. Didn't they have a name? I think it might be a politically incorrect name. Let me double check this. What do you call Ring of Honor fans? Isn't it like... I'm not going to say it unless I know that's what it is. What do you call... This could get a little dicey. What do you call fans of Ring of Honor? I think it's like... I think it's the mentally disabled term, but instead of it's row. I believe that's what they're called. Or maybe I just thought of that and I'm a terrible person. But Whatever the case is, we got 700 of those rows in the armory here in January of 2005. I mean, we got a world title match in the main event. Also, we got kind of like a bonus main event situation with Samoa Joe and someone from the WWE. I'll just put it that way. A lot going on here. I think we'll just dive right in, right? We got a lot of Generation Next, Second City Saints stuff. That's kind of the running theme throughout this event, through the various factions we're threading in between. And for those unfamiliar, Generation Next was a faction comprised of Austin Aries, Jack Evans, Roderick Strong, and Alex Shelley. However, Alex Shelley was kicked out of the group at the last show by Austin Aries and Roderick Strong. So now it's just the three of them. However, Jack Evans has not appeared since Alex Shelley was kicked out, and he does not appear on this show. We'll get into why that is. But there's a lot of Generation Next kind of maneuvering here and there. But this faction is feuding with the Second City Saints, a faction comprised of CM Punk, Colt Cabana, Ace Steel, and kind of Steve Corino. Again, we'll get into the nuances of what the hell's going on there. I think I like it. The Steve Corino element, I don't know. There's been a lot of like, this doesn't have anything to do with anything, but this will tie in, I promise. I've seen a lot of discussion recently on the internets, on the World Wide Web, comparing Triple H to Shane Douglas, right? In my opinion, I think it was the last episode I was talking about this. Triple H, he ripped a lot of what his persona would end up being from Shane Douglas, like directly ripped down to the exact same hat he chose to wear. So, but I think Steve Corino is somewhere. This Pokemon evolution, Steve Corino fits in there somewhere. It's like, so Steve Corino, Shane Douglas, Triple H. I don't know who's Charmander, who's Charizard, or who's Charmeleon, but that they're in there somewhere. I'd like to hear your input. Among those three, what is the evolution path of those three? I always, because they're all the same guy, right? They're all white guys that are like pretty boring, but like kind of technically sound in the ring, can talk pretty good, but can never really follow up their promos with great matches. Not never, but like more often than not, they don't. I'll say that. But yeah, so Steve Corino's here. He's a big part of this show. But again, I keep stopping and starting. Let's just dive right into this bad boy, shall we? We got Austin Aries opening the show. The new Ring of Honor World Champion, Austin Aries. He defeated Samoa Joe at the last event, Final Battle 2004. That was where we last left off. An incredible match and incredible moments. I knew that Austin Aries beat Samoa Joe for the championship. I did not know the manner that he did it in, but man, it was electric. Great stuff there. Go watch that match if you have not. Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries from Final Battle 04. But we got Aries coming out to open the show, which you don't get a lot of in Ring of Honor. You don't get a lot of shows opening with promos. So it was very unique, but it is a unique circumstance because Samoa Joe, his, what was it? It was like a 20-month title reign came to an end. So it's a big deal that we got a new champion here. So it makes sense that you start out with the new champion. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's going to be some visual aids here. Aries comes out, and look, I just got to pull this up, right? So this is a still image of Austin Aries, who comes out to open the show. Now, look, I know it's 2004. I got to temper my expectations. Here's the thing. There are some guys that are suit guys. He's not wearing a suit. He's wearing a button up and slacks, but you know what I mean. There are suit guys, and then there are guys that are not suit guys. Like Batista, he can wear the hell out of a suit. Triple H can wear a suit. Ric Flair can wear a suit. Gunther can wear a suit. But there are guys like, I don't know, like CM Punk. He's not going to wear a suit. Even guys like Randy Orton, a handsome devil, doesn't look good in a suit. Austin Aries, not a suit guy. I mean, he He just bought this shirt from Sears on the way to the show. I know the baggy look, it's very 04. I'm going to give him some slack there, but man, first of all, he's shorter than the ring announcer, which is a terrible look, right? I don't know. Bobby Cruz, I don't think he's an incredibly large gentleman. And I know we're live in front of a crowd, but you can do the old splits deal. You know what I mean? Spread your legs, make the guy look taller. That's all I ask. But yeah, Austin Aries in the goofy sunglasses and the buka shell. What do you call it? The goofy beaded necklace. Terrible, terrible haircut. You can't really see it from this angle. Let me see if I can pop it over here to a close up of this guy. I mean, gee willikers, what are we doing here? The bangs are atrocious. It's like it's almost a mullet, but it's not. It's too short to be a mullet, but it's too long to be whatever you call a normal haircut. Just the state. This guy right off the bat does not feel like a world champion. Or if you're gonna be a world dude, this is kind of a thing. We're gonna talk more about it in the main or not the main event. I guess the main event. Austin Aries is going to be defending his title against Colt Cabana in the main event. And here's my question to you, those who have watched the product, or maybe those that are just following along here. Does Austin Aries feel like a world champion to you? He's a great wrestler. I've praised his work very heavily, both his stuff here, the stuff in TNA that I've covered and will continue to cover. I think he's one of the most fun wrestlers to watch. Explosive, well balanced. He does a lot of different things. He does a lot of things very well. He's pretty good on the mic too. There's just something missing, I think. Is it just because he's short? Perhaps. How tall? Maybe that's a better question. How tall is Austin Aries? Let's look it up here. He is 5'9". I mean, straight up midge. Like, short people can be world champions, but to be like a cocky heel wearing a suit champion, you can't be short. You can be plucky, not plucky, but you can be like, fan favorite. You can be high impact, high energy, get the crowd behind you. You can be chicken shit if you want to be the heel. You can't be, I'm wearing sunglasses and a button-up guy when you're 5'9". Oh boy, the Lollipop Guild is going to be after me on that one. But anyways, he opens the show. And, coming into this, because it was a huge positive reaction when he won the title last month. So I was interested. I was like, okay, I mean, is he going to continue to be a heel or is he going to swerve into the babyface direction? And that's pretty much answered here, because he's like, people are telling me I got large shoes to fill with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, we're coming off of this legendary title reign. There's big shoes to fill. People don't think I can fill them. And then Aries is like, you're right. I'm not going to fill those shoes. I'm going to get my own shoes. I'm a size 5. He's going to say, he says he's going to make his own path. He's going to be a better champion than Samoa Joe ever was, which we'll see. We'll see. I do not have high hopes for that, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll go ahead and see. And then Bobby Roode is out there interviewing him. Bobby Roode? Did I say Bobby Roode? Bobby Roode's cousin. Bobby Cruz, the ring announcer, is out there interviewing him. And he informs Austin Aries that there is no more contenders ring, which I forgot that was even a thing they were trying to do. And there's no more top 5, which is big news. That is a day one initiative. Maybe not day one, but very early on. So we don't have this, list of, we don't have rankings anymore, basically. It's something that we've discussed here on the podcast a lot, both with Ring of Honor and the current product when AEW is trying to do it. Rankings and wrestling, man, it's never going to work. It never will work. It never has worked. Wrestling's wrestling. People get title matches and whatnot through various ways. Rankings they provide an unnecessary roadblock. It is fun at times when you have like, oh, we got the number 2 guy and the number 3 guy fighting off. Like, it gives like some element of stakes to the thing, but ultimately it's a net negative, I think, in every promotion that they've tried to do it, rankings and this bullshit contenders ring. It was destined to fail. And the contenders ring was even more contrived because it was like, basically there's 5 number 1 contenders at any given time. And you get in this top 5 ring by receiving 70% of the votes by some imaginary committee that it's some very vaguely laid out committee that's voting, and like, what are the votes? What determines the votes? It ultimately comes down to like who's winning matches, and you don't need this fucking goofy ring. You don't need these rankings to do that. So big claps for getting rid of the contenders ring in the top 5. But we're still we have to get cute with it for some fucking reason. Bobby Cruz informs that people now have to petition to get title matches. It's like, can we not just like, there's a general manager or something, or just say management determines who gets the title shots. Like any other fucking wrestling promotion out there. It just, can we just do the thing that has been proven to work, please? Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't like, affect the show at all, but it's like, do we have to have this dumb lore in the background? You have to petition to get a title shot, because he mentions this, Bobby Cruz does, to Austin Aries, and then the camera like hilariously pans over to Alex Shelley, who is now standing outside of the ring leaning up against the apron. Alex Shelley, who, as a reminder, was just kicked out of Generation Next by the man in the ring, Austin Aries. So Alex Shelley's here. He grabs the mic, and Shelley says that, Aries, you have made the biggest mistake of your career. If it wasn't for me, you'd be stuck in mid-card purgatory, which, to be fair, is probably true, because Aries was wrestling on these afternoon shows. People didn't know who Austin Aries was until he became a member of Generation Next. So there is some credence to what Alex Shelley is saying. Then Alex is like, kind of tongue in cheek, like, oh, you got a petition for title matches? Well, I'm here to petition. I guess that's all. You just declare that you're petitioning. It's like bankruptcy. You just I declare. Like, I don't know if that's how it works, but maybe it is. Who knows? So Shelley is petitioning for a title match against Austin Aries, and when he's doing that, Roderick Strong comes out, attacks Shelley from behind. Him and Aries, both Generation Next members, gang up on Alex Shelley. And who comes out to make the save? No other than Boom Boom Colt Cabana. Comes out, beats them both off. He runs Roddy and Aries off. I mean, crazy fire. He rips off his shirt. He's ripping off the shirt of everybody. This dumb button up that Austin Aries has, he rips it off. He does this backdrop to Aries and almost sends Aries out of the ring. He goes he half hits the ropes. I mean, hype clean out from Colt Cabana in here. He's wrecking shop here. Colt grabs the mic. He says he hasn't forgotten what Aries did to him last time they were in Boston, which I believe they attacked his leg with a steel chair, if I remember correctly. So Colt and Alex Shelley are in the ring, and then Alex Shelley offers his hand to Colt, but Colt Cabana rejects it. He says Shelley, you're a part of it too, so fuck you, pal. I'm not here to save you. I'm here for me. And that leads us, or it sets up the main event later in the show between Colt Cabana and Austin Aries, which we'll get to that in due time. But before that, we have our opening match here. Alex Shelley's already out there, and his opponent, Spanky, returning to Ring of Honor. Bryan Kendrick is back, fresh off of his run in WWE, which we covered in another timeline of the Apron Bump, although I don't know if he was in a ton of pay-per-view matches, so I don't know exactly how much we talked about him. But yeah, Kendrick, back in Ring of Honor. Now, he would eventually go back to the WWE to have his more notable run, teaming with Paul London and then the Brian Kendrick stuff, becoming WWE champion. I mean, he had a better run in WWE than I think anybody would have ever guessed. But at this point, his first run of limited success, I guess to put it lightly, he had kind of a short feud with John Cena, like very early John Cena stuff. And then just kind of disappeared. He might have been like on Velocity or whatever, but he didn't do a lot with him. He did have a WWE title match with Brock Lesnar, I think in his first match. And so it was a weird run, but he is back here in Ring of Honor. Spanky, for those unaware, he was in the first ever Ring of Honor World title match back in 2002. So he has a lot of history with Ring of Honor feuds. I mean, he was in some of the best stuff in 2002, because 2002 was a bit of a rough year for Ring of Honor. I mean, obviously it's their first year, it's growing pains, what have you. But I think he had a pretty good feud with like Michael Shane and Paul London. Maybe did Kendrick have a feud with? I don't remember. I know he did a lot of good stuff in those early years, but he's back here. No music coming out. I don't know if that's the story or if they just didn't have music prepared. I don't know, but he's pretty serious here. Like pretty no bullshit Spanky against pretty equally serious Alex Shelley, which was an interesting dynamic. Like this wrestling match, Brian Kendrick versus Alex Shelley, fantastic match. One of the better matches of the night, honestly. Maybe. Is this the match of the night? This could be match of the night. Now that I'm thinking about it. Just really, I mean, there's nothing like crazy flashy about it. There's really no stakes to it. I mean, it's just kind of an opening match here, but everything was just so crisp. Alex Shelley in particular is like, dude, like, is he just rotting on the SmackDown roster right now? Like, what are we doing? Alex Shelley is one of the best, like bell to bell, just nuts and bolts wrestling, one of the best of all time. Alex Shelley is tremendous. People bundle him in with the Motor City Machine Guns, which is fair given that's, I think at this point, probably the majority of his career. But goddamn, him as a singles guy, he's just so good. And he's kind of positioned as the babyface a little bit, I would say, which is, I wouldn't say it's where he thrives. I think he's such a fun shithead heel. He bleeds that cockiness into his wrestling so well. He's just so good. And Brian Kendrick, Spanky, awesome as well here, especially in this point, 2005. You gotta feel like he's got a chip on his shoulder from his WWE run not going as well as he had planned. But still is a recipe for success, man. And I will note that Alex Shelley follows the code of honor here, shakes the hand of Spanky, which is a big deal because Generation Next, that was like their whole thing. They don't shake hands. Fuck you. But that shows that Alex Shelley has turned a new leaf, which again, like as a babyface, I don't know if that's the path that we're getting the most value out of Alex Shelley, but this was a pretty neutral match, I guess, from face heel dynamic. So it didn't really matter that much. But we got Shelley busting out an angel's wings. He's doing a split-legged brain buster for a 2 count. Looked brutal. Spanky. He hits the sliced bread, right? Which is his finish. But the way he hit it, he just snapped it off so quick. Like Shelley, like he hits that brain buster. He's got him in control. He's got a hold of Spanky, and Spanky just boom, jawbreaker, grabs him, snaps off that sliced bread. Boom, 1, 2, kick out. Tremendous energy, just great urgency. Love it. Spanky follows it up. Frog splash, 2 count. He hits the Shawn Michaels elbow for a 2 count, which I believe Shawn trained him. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure he did. So we're getting all these near falls. Spanky hits a super kick, knocks Shelley for a loop, but then Shelley comes back, super kick of his own, shell shock, 1, 2, foot on the ropes, saves Spanky. Spanky gets up, Shelley gets up. Spanky's able to hit the sliced bread one more time for the 1, 2, 3. Brian Kendrick gets the win over Alex Shelley in a awesome opener. But again, this is kind of what I forgot I was saying before. two guys that are just having a serious wrestling match, which is very good, but I think they're both so charismatic as well, and I just don't feel like that came off through this match. I feel like we're not utilizing these guys to their potential. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. I mean, it's just opening match, whatever. It's Spanky's return. It's Alex Shelley's kind of beginning of his new paths. Maybe we're just kind of we're setting the tone a little bit. We're not getting too deep into it, but I would like to see more of the character of these two come through because I think they're both so flamboyant and fun. And but I'm looking forward to seeing more of both of these guys. This is really good stuff. Just two complete wrestlers. Is all I'll say about these guys. We go backstage after that match to Steve Corino and CM Punk getting ready for their match later tonight. They will be teaming up in an ultimate endurance match. We'll get more into that. It's a multi-tag team match with various falls and stipulations. Again, we'll get more into that, but we're doing this. So Ring of Honor does this thing from day one. They've done this thing where they kind of break the fourth wall a little bit, which I think I like how they do it because it's not really the fourth wall. It's like the third wall they're breaking because they're not really breaking kayfabe, but there's this level of like, there's like kayfabe is the foundation, right? And then above that is like this quote unquote real. And then above that, there's real, which would be the fourth wall breaking, but it's like below that. Is that confusing? You know what? Let's pull up this promo actually. You know, why would I just describe it when we could show it or when we can listen to it together? Let's have a little bit of fun. You know what I mean? We like to have fun here on this program. So whoever's holding the camera goes backstage to Steve Corino and he's like, "You ready for this promo?"
Where the hell is he? I hope he doesn't screw up the match. When he needs me to save him, I'm there. I was there in Jersey for him.
So you guys almost ready for this promo?
I'm ready, wherever the hell Punk is. Let's go. Hey, who is it? Punker! Hey, yo, what's up? What's going on? How you doing? What's up, guys?
Hey!
Nice hair, dude.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, we do high fives around here. That's right, baby. All right. What's going on?
Okay, coin toss. You know what coin toss?
I was about to ask you what the hell's a coin toss for?
See who comes out first.
For what?
The match, the intro.
I came here to do a promo, dude. Can this wait? Like,
Come on, just call it. Because you know you're going to be out first.
You see what I mean, though? It's like, yeah, we're just doing a promo for a match, you know? It's like, which I guess, you know, theoretically, that's how it would be for any company. I don't know. Maybe it's just interesting to me, but I like how they kind of, so what they have this like layer of like they'll break into their character. Watch, like here.
Carnage Crew Rottweilers. Okay.
All right, let's act serious.
5, 4.
Oh, let me come over here. Let me come over here, guys. We need to talk about business and other extracurricular activities.
All right. You guys ready?
Wait, one more. Serious. Go get him. You start off. I'll finish.
Great.
5, 4, 3, 2.
You know, tonight in Boston, Massachusetts, one thing is going to happen.
You see how they like snap it to their character. But what that does, and the reason that I like it, is because when the promo ends, you know, it's like, all right, we're out of promo mode. But then that puts them in this like quote unquote real environment. It makes it feel more organic without breaking that fourth wall too much. Breaking the fourth wall is like what Jade Cargill is doing on Twitter right now, talking about how Rhea talks to creative. When creative is ever brought up in wrestling, fucking suck me from the back. That shit stinks. That is lame. It's dorky. Oh, you're in the writer's room having your matches. You having them have you win all your matches. That's just like we all know what kayfabe is, but there's an element of like, we can't blend the streams. That's like, you know, a lot of people, if you watch Walking Dead, or you're at least familiar of it, when it was airing, they would have the episode, and then they would have like a talk show after it, talking about that episode with the actors, obviously talking about the acting and whatnot in the backstage, whatever the hell. See, that's one thing, right? You have the show, and then you have the after show. Two different things. When people in wrestling are building storylines based on creative, that's like if like Daryl has his fucking arrow, he's shooting zombies, and then he turns to the camera is like, you know, this only took 5 takes. this blood, this ain't real. You know what I mean? They had me dying in this scene, but I talked to them and I made sure that they didn't kill me. I made sure that I killed the zombies and they didn't kill me. That's what it's like when in wrestling people are talking about creative to build up storylines. That is not what we're looking at here with Steve Corino and CM Punk. It's like we're still like breaking down the barrier a little bit, but we're not fully committing to like, oh, this is fake horse shit. It's like a layer of like wrestling is still real, but there's like a layer above it where it's like, oh, we got to hype it up for the camera, but ultimately this whole thing is still real. Does that make sense? It makes sense in my head when I talk about it, but maybe it doesn't when I articulate it with words. But any hoozle. But that being said, I do like this relationship between Steve Corino and CM Punk. It's like they're both kind of dickheads. They both don't really like each other that much, but they also get along and they work well together as a tag team. And but they do it begrudgingly, and I like that dynamic between those two. And then after that, it cuts to Allison Danger backstage, which, you know, I can't really get her character across with words. Let's just take a listen. Why don't we?
It's 2005, people, and you know what that means? It's a new year of the prophecy, and I'm bringing it straight to you. So you know what I'm going to do? Now I am signing up new members. I am bringing new life to this cause, and I tell you time and time again, the prophecy, it'll never die. Ha ha ha! Yes, 2005. This is going to rock.
It's a lot. That's a lot. But yes, she is recruiting new members of the prophecy this year, or she seeks to, I guess. She's still feuding with Dan Moff and BJ Whitmer, none of which are on this show, but that is the underlying thing that will be another thread throughout the show, which we'll talk about again. But that brings us to the next match. We got Special K Civil War continuing. We got Deranged versus Azriel. Might be asking yourself, who the turkey is Azriel? What is the former Angel Dust? Angel Dust has changed his name to, I guess, his real name. I don't know if it's his real name or not, but he's ditching the drug references. He's getting serious. No longer Angel Dust. He is Azriel, and he's taken on Deranged. Just a quick recap of where we're at in this Special K Civil War. Special K, this big group of young, rich kids that go to raves and do drugs. They wear baggy pants and bandanas. They're flipping and flopping all over the place. There's been some trouble in paradise. Some of them want to get serious, namely Azriel, Becky, Dixie. Those three wanted to get serious. They were losing matches, and they were like, guys, let's stop doing drugs and dancing to the ring. Let's just get serious. Let's get wrestling tights. Let's get knee pads, elbow pads. They saw what Jay Lethal did when he broke away from Special K, because he was a member of the group. Hydro was his name, and he broke away, and he's been having a lot of success. So these guys are like, hey, let's cut the malarkey. Let's get down to business. Let's get serious. But Deranged, Izzy, Cloudy, Cheech, Lacey, there's probably 10 of them I'm forgetting, but all these guys are like, fuck you. We love drugs. We love E. You could take your wrestling trunks and shove it, Angel Dust. So they kicked him out of the group, and now we got Angel Dust, or Azriel, versus Deranged. Here's a thought I had watching this match, right? Because it's a whatever match. It's more to like kind of further the story. It ends in a schmoz here pretty early on. It's not a super long match, not a lot to talk about. But here's my thought watching this, right? Because both these guys, as goofy as the Special K gimmick is, two really talented dudes, two fun guys to watch wrestle. Most of the Special K guys are. When you get past the goofy gimmick, it's like, wow, these guys are really fun, especially in 2005, which there was a real appetite for like this really just wanting innovative moves, high-flying moves, fast-paced, stiff kicks in there as well. These guys were perfect for the time. They were great. And here's a thought I had watching this. Why did Ring of Honor never have some sort of like cruiserweight championship? You know what I mean? They have the Pure title. They had a TV title. Obviously, like, they had the world title. It took them a long time, but they had a women's title, obviously the tag team titles. I think they had a trios title at some point. They did everything except having a weight-based championship. I think every promotion, I could say the same thing about AEW, by the way. Every promotion needs some sort of cruiserweight title. There are just too many little guys out there, little guys, very diminutive, but too many just guys that'll never be world champion, but are really fun to watch and could use some stakes to their matches. Guys like who's modern day, like who would fall under that category, like a I don't know, like a Javon Evans, maybe. I know he's not AEW, but I mean, WWE could use the crew. I mean, I don't know why they keep getting rid of the cruiserweight title, but like, it just adds a new flavor to each show. It's like, oh, here's the cruiserweight match. That's what WCW did. Here's your luchadors. Here's your Rey Mysterio versus Dean Malenko, and then we have the DDP versus Mr. Perfect, and we have Hogan versus John. Every match had its own flavor, and I think, I don't know, man. You add some level of stakes to it. I think it could have added a lot. So, just food for thought. Food for thought for Ring of Honor. I know it doesn't matter anymore, but like, I don't know. I think Special K fighting for the cruiserweight title would have added. They got the personal vendetta as the foundation of it. So maybe this isn't the greatest example because there is a story here to be told that doesn't maybe need a title. But I think otherwise, like once we get past this stuff, once we get past this story, like what are these guys just gonna like fade into obscurity? I guess ultimately they did. So I don't know. I think a cruiserweight title would have been fun in Ring of Honor, but this match was fun. Azriel has some really fun kicks, like combos with super kicks and rapid kicks to the back. Like he's just popping them off. They sound like gunshots. Deranged with some stiff stomps as well. They're suplex. I mean, they're both little guys. They're just throwing each other all over the place. Fun sequences, fun counters. Azriel hits some sort of fisherman buster. Is about to get the win, but then the rest of Special K gets in there, beats him down. DQ finish. But who makes the save? None other than the Ring Crew Express. They're not going to take it anymore. Hits the speakers. Done. Marcos. They sprint to the ring. They make the save. They bust up everybody in there. They take Lacey. They give her a double spank. That's right. They grab Lacey. They put her over both of their knees and double spank. DS. The old DS. So, all of this is an effort to build up to what we are going to get next month. We are getting another Scramble Cage. My goodness. And it's going to involve the Special K guys. It's going to involve Dunn and Marcos. Not sure who else is in it. I got to imagine like a Carnage crew or somebody's going to be in this as well. So this is all building up to that, which I believe main events one of the nights next month. So, I don't know if that's the culmination of the story here with Special K, but we'll see. We'll see. So some fun stuff. Some fun stuff there. Some fun story progression. Don't mind it. Don't mind it. We go backstage after that to Homicide and Julius Smokes backstage, cutting a promo on Bryan Danielson, who Homicide's going to be facing later in the night in a submission match. Homicide says he's going to bake your arm with a Rockwilers. He just says everything a little bit wrong, but that's the charm of Homicide. You got to love him. And then Julius Smokes is here, and he's just a rabid animal. So a lot going on there, But then here's another example of the we're going to call it the third wall breaking because it's not fourth wall, it's third wall. Promo's over. Guy says cut. All right, thanks for the promo, guys. And Homicide and Julius Smokes are like, all right, whatever. They kind of turn into normal guys for a second. Allison Danger comes in. So that means we're no longer in this promo. This is just them in real life interacting with another wrestler. So you know what I mean? It kind of adds this layer of realism. Allison Danger gets in there to try to recruit Homicide into the prophecy, which is a fun concept. She says she can provide him the inside scoop on Steve Corino, who is Allison Danger's brother. She says the Rottweilers, they got a future match with Moff and Whitmer, and I control their contracts, so I can help you out. So I could do a lot to help you guys out. And then Julius is like, all right, well, I'll hear you out. And they tells the cameraman to buzz off, and then we're just left with that. So I don't know if that'll play out into anything. I don't know if that's going to materialize into anything, but again, more on that later, I suppose. Then we go on to the next match. We got Roderick Strong out here. Of course, member of Generation Next. So initially, Roderick Strong was going to be teaming with Jack Evans in a match happening later in this show. But Jack Evans apparently got injured recently wrestling for another promotion as Blitzkrieg. I guess that was one of his characters. But he got injured, so he's not able to compete here. So instead, Roderick Strong, Roderick Strong is pulling out of that match because he doesn't want to win the tag team titles with anybody else. So instead, Roderick Strong is going to challenge all of CM Punk and Steve Corino's students. So they have like the Ring of Honor dojo or academy, whatever they call it. They got a training school in-house in Ring of Honor, and CM Punk and Steve Corino are some of the head trainers there. So Roddy challenges these students, gauntlet style. So one after the other. There's 4 guys here. Shane Hagedorn comes out. Roderick Strong takes this poor fella, gorilla press into the corner, hits him with an Irish curse backbreaker for the 1, 2, 3 in like 10 seconds. See you later, Shane. Evan Starsmore comes out. Roderick Strong mutilates his chest with chops. Full Nelson backbreaker. Power bomb. 1, 2, 3. Skedaddle, Evan. Out next, we got Alex Law comes out. Now, at this point, Roddy's a little fatigued here. He's done some work here. He's a little sweat, almost breaking a sweat. So Alex gets some shots in. He's got some kickboxing chops behind him, this Alex Law. Goes for a Hurricane Rana, but Roddy counters it into a power bomb backbreaker. Eesh. Brutal looking. Pins him, but no, he's not done here. Lifts him up at 2. Chops. Butterfly backbreaker. 1, 2, 3. See ya later, Alex. Outlast, the last student, the last of the Mohegans, Ricky Landell comes out. And it's at this point, Ricky gets a little bit of offense. And it's at this point in the match, a little back and forth. Roddy's a little tired. I believe Ricky even busts open the lip of Roderick Strong, but that just pisses him off. Roddy hits him with a gut check and annihilates him with a sick kick, a boot to the head, sends him flying, hits a what I know as the train wreck, which is a kind of a power bomb back, like a backbreaker over the shoulder type of deal. Locks in a crossface and makes Ricky Landell tap out. So Roderick Strong, basically an exhibition, basically just Roddy Strong just kicking the shit out of young students, which is specifically my type of wrestling. This was for me. The crowd didn't really care. At this point, nobody really knows who Roderick Strong is. They know he's a member of Generation Next, but he has not really broken out to be the star that he is, in my opinion. One of the greatest of all time in the ring. But this was a fun showcase for him because he doesn't get that much time to showcase himself as a singles. So I didn't mind this. It was a fun alternative to him teaming with Jack Evans. And Steve Corino, by the way, Roddy pins this last guy, but he continues beating the shit out of him. Steve Corino runs out to run off Roderick Strong. And this all feeds into the Generation Next Second City Saints feud because Roddy's with Generation Next and Steve Corino's like Second City Saints adjacent. Third City Saints, maybe. I don't know. But that's where we're at. Just again, feeding into that story. So I enjoyed that. And I enjoy seeing young boys get beat up. So this was built for me, I think. After that, we go backstage to Bryan Danielson. Now I have a couple questions. Let me pull up this promo here. I got more fashion questions here when it comes to old D. Bry. Let me just find it real quick. All right. Now, what do we got going on here, Bryan? First of all, a startling pause here by myself. I mean, he's just staring at me. He is looking through me into my soul. That is a KG psychotic vegan, if I've ever seen one. Look at this hat. Look, he looks so badass, right? The look on his face, the beard, I love it, right? But then he's got this goofy hat. If you're gonna cut a wrestling promo, take this dumb hat off. You know what I mean? It's the winter, it's the beanie with the dumb ears. What are you, Home Alone? Get the fuck out of here, Bryan Danielson. Take the hat off, you dumb piece of shit. Anyways, that's all I had to say about that. But Danielson, he's going off. He says that tonight he's going to make Homicide tap. and in their first match of a 5-match series, which we'll talk about later. But then Allison Danger's back. She's in here to recruit Danielson, but Danielson just looks at her and is like, well, that's your fucking kooky. You're a fucking kooky coos. And then he just walks away. So no luck. I don't think we'll be seeing Bryan Danielson in the prophecy. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But after that, we got the tag team titles on the line in an ultimate endurance match. We got the Havana Pitbulls, the team of Ricky Reyes and Rocky Romero, defending the titles against the team of CM Punk and Steve Corino versus the Carnage Crew, DeVito and Loke. Now, Roddy Strong and Jack Evans were going to be in this match, but Roddy pulled out and they didn't replace them. So now it's just a 3-way. Ultimate Endurance. What is Ultimate Endurance? We talked about this once before. The first fall is a scramble, so no tags needed. I think usually the second fall is a submission only, and then the third fall is just a regular match. But since there's only 3 teams here, the first fall is a scramble, and then the second fall is a regular match. And it's elimination as well, should be said. So I would argue, given that there's only 3 teams, maybe we just make this a regular match. I don't know. But we got the Pitbulls coming out. By the way, the Havana Pitbulls are about to beat the record for longest Ring of Honor tag team title reign. So they've quietly cultivated themselves as one of the best tag teams in Ring of Honor history up to this point, which is very interesting. I enjoy watching these guys work. Ricky Reyes and Rocky Romero, so big fan of these guys. And of course, we got CM Punk and Steve Corino. Their entrances take. Let's see how long their entrances took. Let me pull up this video. I won't make you sit through the whole thing, but I'm just gonna get some timestamps real quick. So the entrances start at, what is this? 52:31, and they end at 57:50. Okay, so that's about 5 minutes. So that's not crazy, I guess. Especially with like modern day WWE, that's actually pretty quick. But it felt like forever. Whatever it is. And then we got the Carnage Crew. They're bald. They're fun. So match gets underway. First fall is a scramble. So of course you got a lot of chaos. Everybody's in the ring. Everybody's out of the ring. We got people diving. We're getting thrown into the barricades. We're getting thrown into the crowd. Double team moves all over the place right out the gate. Hot start. But pretty quickly, CM Punk makes HC Loke tap out with the Anaconda Vice, which is a fairly new finisher in his arsenal. So helps get that move over. But with that said, Carnage Crew eliminated pretty early on here. And then we move on to, I guess, the final fall, which is just a normal match. Havana Pitbulls versus Punk and Corino. I would argue maybe you just have this match. Maybe you don't even don't bother with the Carnage Crew if you're just gonna do. I don't know. But maybe it was worth the fun chaos in the beginning. Who knows? But at this point in the match, it was a fine match. It was very just a classic tag team match. The Pitbulls control Punk. They're beating up on him for a little bit. There's some good stuff happening here. Steve Corino gets the hot tag, which feels very goofy for Steve Corino. It's just very tongue-in-cheek. Doesn't feel natural. It feels like he's not even comfortable doing it, being the baby face, getting the crowd behind him. It's, for Steve Corino, it just doesn't feel like it should be happening. But big scoop slams, enziguris from Steve Corino on both Pitbulls. But the Pitbulls use their numbers to regain control. Punk back in. Anaconda Vice to Rocky Romero. But Julius Smokes, who's with them, distracts the ref. While he has the ref and Punk distracted, Roderick Strong comes out, smashes Steve Corino in the leg with a steel chair. Obviously, going back to Corino running off Roddy earlier in the show. So Generation Next still involved in this segment, with Roddy hitting Steve Corino with a chair. And the Havana Pitbulls take advantage, and they hit their double team pendulum backbreaker knee drop combination onto CM Punk in the ring. Steve Corino on the outside cannot help because his leg is now shattered. So the Pitbulls are able to take advantage and pin CM Punk for the 1-2-3, which is very significant because Punk has been in the world title scene. He's one of the top guys in Ring of Honor, if not the top guy. So big win for the Pitbulls. And I think this puts them in the number 1 spot for, title reign length, I believe, or at least close to it. So pretty significant win. Nothing crazy about this match. It was solid. I think it was more so here to serve the purpose of furthering the Second City Saints Generation Next feud, but it was fun. I like everybody involved. I liked it. Big fan. Which brings us to intermission. So we get some video package type stuff. Gabe Sapolsky lets us know that Low-Key has been suspended indefinitely for beating up the ref at Final Battle, which, like, very underrated. Like, we need more of that. We need more people being suspended for doing shit like this, for beating up refs, for hitting refs. You can't just have the inmates running the asylum. There needs to be consequences for things on TV. And I like that they're doing this. Get Low-Key the fuck out of here. You can't be beating up refs. You can't do it. You cannot do that, Kaval. But we also get informed during this intermission that coming to Ring of Honor next month, Jamie Noble. We going to Applebee's, baby. Fuck yeah, baby. James Gibson coming to Ring of Honor. I have a fair bit of knowledge of what he does when he comes to Ring of Honor, and I am excited because he is just another one of these guys that's so, like, if he was just a little bit taller, he'd be one of the greats. He still is one of the greats, but I think a lot of people, he's very underrated by a lot of people. Love watching Jamie Noble wrestle. Even in my other timeline, I'm watching where he's still on SmackDown, still kind of in that cruiserweight division. Like, it's always a joy watching him wrestle, like the Rey Mysterios of the world. Great stuff, man. So Jamie Noble coming to Ring of Honor here next month. And so essentially we trade Low-Key for Jamie Noble is the summary of what we just talked about, which I think is a fair trade. I think it is. But that brings us to the second half of the show. And we're kicking it off with the match that going into this, I was looking forward to the most. Just looking at the card. We got Nigel McGuinness versus the former Ring of Honor World Champion Samoa Joe. Nigel versus Joe. Suck me until I cry. It was a pretty good match. It wasn't as good as I expected it to be, given who is in it, but we also still got to remember, and I still got to remember, and that is very much came across in this match. Like, Joe is still like several tiers above Nigel McGuinness at this point. Give it a year or two, I think they're more on the same plane. But here, I think this was more a showcase for Samoa Joe than anything else. Nigel still looked very good in this match. It wasn't a squash by any means, but I think they have a few more gears in the tank to have a really epic match. I wouldn't call this an epic match. It was a very good match. Another one that is very close to being match of the night. I still might give it to Alex Shelley versus Spanky, but it's close. It's close. And I love the finish to this match too, by the way, which we'll get into that in a second. But so yeah, Samoa Joe, no longer the Ring of Honor champion. So we're on this new path for him. How is he going to recover? Is he going to go for the title again? Does he want a rematch? Does he got to fight his way back to the title? Maybe this is the first step in doing so. Another a layer to this, a detail that I do like, because previously Samoa Joe came out to "The Champ Is Here" by the Jadakiss. Ooh, I hope so. I'm gonna look silly if I'm wrong. Who sings the champ is here? No, it's not Will Smith, is it? Ah, it is Jadakiss. Okay, look at me. See, I know things. I know some things. But here's the thing: the champ is here. Not the champ anymore. There's no champ. There's no champ to be had here. Joey Samoa, so he can't come out to that music anymore. So now he's coming out to "Mama Gonna Knock You Out," which is a song that starts out with "Don't Call It a Comeback." So he's coming back, whatever. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But this is it's not a good. I get the theme. I get it. It's not a good wrestling theme song. It's not a good walkout song. It's not like a hoopity boppity goopity scoopity goopity boo bop boo. Like it's not. It doesn't fit Samoa Joe. I think whoever created Samoa Joe's first NXT theme song, I think this is the match they saw and they're like, oh, let's make something close to that. Which Have you guys heard Samoa Joe's first NXT theme song? Do you remember it? You know what? Fudge it. Fudge it. Let's pull it up. For Samoa Joe. Joe. Like, what? What are we talking about here? Oh, but yeah, that's basically what he comes out to here. Just the more popular version. But Nigel versus Joe. Stylistically, a very interesting match. You got Joe, who has a lot of like the MMA influence, versus Nigel, who is like, he has the British catch wrestling type of style. So it's like kind of an awkward, weird clash of styles in a way, but I kind of like it because there's points in this match where, like, you know, Nigel's using this finesse, you know, he's using the grip and leverage, you know, he's twisting the limbs, he's finessing his way into certain positions, he's being very nuanced and trying to get in there, and then Joe's like, wow. There's one point where Nigel's on his back, right? He's got his legs wrapped around Joe. He's trying to get a handle on him. He's in guard. He's trying to pull him in for a submission or whatever. And then Joe just fucking forearms the shit out of his jaw until he breaks it. There's another point where Nigel, he's doing the chain wrestling. He's got him by the wrist. He's got like this contrived like wrist lock. He's got the cravat. He gets a little separation, and then Joe just shoulder blocks the shit out of him, dude. I love this blend of styles. Again, it was kind of clunky at times, but I thought it worked. Both guys having chances to shine. Nigel locks in his submission finisher, which is, I hate it, dude. I love Nigel McGuinness. He would eventually find the what did he call it? The London Dungeon, which is the Shankly Gates. You might know it as Zach Gibson does it, but it's like an arm lock, but it's like a camel clutch arm lock. It looks good. Nigel here, he's still working with this, like, he gives like a triangle choke to his elbow. It looks dumb. It looks goofy. But whatever. He's still getting some offense in. He's looking good. Samoa Joe back with some suicide dives, some Olay kicks against the barricade. Both guys, very simple, clear stories within this match. Both guys having each other scouted. Like, Joe goes for the muscle buster off the top rope, but Nigel counters into the Tower of London. Joe gets his foot on the ropes to break up the pin. Joe tries to hit his corner Uranagi, you know, when Joe's in the corner, and he throws the guy down, but then Nigel has this scouted, counters into an arm bar of sorts. So we got a lot of, you know, tit for tit action in this match. Nigel loves to do this headstand thing in the corner where he like runs into the corner, turns himself upside down to try to lure his opponent in to do whatever, right? A lot of times he'll float right into the Tower of London from there, but he does it 3 times in this match. The first time Nigel does it, Joe charges right at him, but Nigel leaps over him to evade. The second time Nigel does this, Joe comes in again, but Nigel has lured him in as he wanted to, so Nigel is able to mule kick him right in the face. Nigel does it a third time. One time too many because Joe catches him with the big boot in the corner. Joe hits a very high angle Death Valley driver, crunching the neck of Nigel. 1, 2, kick out. This pisses Joe off. I love the anger that he got from Nigel having the audacity to kick out. I love the intensity. I love the urgency. I love the energy. This dude just lost his world title. He's already on edge. He's already pissed off. Now you got Nigel McGuinness kicking out of this move that should have put him down. Fuck you, Nigel. 1, 2, kick out. Joe with these brutal, just rabid knees to the head on a grounded Nigel McGuinness right to the head, locks in the choke, no bullshit, no tomfoolery, just grabs him by the neck, chokes this poor boy. Nigel taps out. Joe wins. A solid match. I think I might give this match of the night, honestly. Talking through it again, I really enjoy this match. I love the intensity of the finish. Nigel looked really good. Joe's back on the path. He's his upward trajectory from losing the title. Fun stuff here. Fun stuff. We're getting closer to this era of Nigel that I remember. I mean, we saw Nigel come in, about a year ago or so as just like a local exhibition match. Nobody knew who he was, but he's so organically gotten over with the crowd. They just really enjoy good wrestling, which sounds very simple and very like oversimplified, but genuinely, 2005, you're not getting a lot of good wrestling on TV. So when you see somebody like Nigel bringing this British style, which at this point it was very novel to the American audience, when you see this style and then Joe's style, like people just appreciate that shit, especially the Ring of Honor crowd, especially the the rotards. So we got Joe getting the win over Nigel McGuinness. So really good stuff there. But man, the hits just keep on coming. We got Bryan Danielson versus Homicide in their first match of their best of 5 series. And every match in the series is going to have a different stipulation. The stipulation of match number 1 is a tap out match. Not a submission match, not an I quit match, a tap out match between Bryan Danielson and Homicide. You would think Bryan would have the advantage coming into this, but you might have an egg on your face. But yeah, Bryan Danielson, Homicide. I mean, serve this up to me every day and shove it down my gullet. I mean, this will always taste delicious to me. And here's the thing, man. So I'm vaguely familiar of this era of Ring of Honor. I don't know when exactly certain things happen. I know where we get to at some point, but I don't know when we get to it. Every time I turn on one of these Ring of Honor shows, every time I'm preparing myself for a Bryan Danielson match, every single time I'm ready for Europe. I'm ready for the final countdown. I'm ready for the red jacket, the maroon tights, and every time fucking Offspring hits the speakers and I get flaccid. Is that Offspring? I think it's Offspring. You know the song I'm talking about. Hopefully I don't get copywritten for that because I know it was very close. But we got the Offspring. He's still dressed like a fucking Jedi too. Bryan, can we get it together? Can you just be the American Dragon, not the American Jedi? You goofy. Let me just pull it up here. Visual aid alert. Look at this. Look at this fucking asshole. Why does he have this goofy cape? He's Bryan Danielson. Black tights, black boots, bald head, beard. He looks sick. And he has this goofy fucking, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, whatever the hell, the cape. Can we stop? Chewbacca ass? Don't know. But Bryan Danielson, Homicide. Very hot start. Bryan sprints to the ring, meets Homicide in the aisleway. They're fighting in the crowd, to the backstage. I mean, with the brawl, it is a submission match. You'd think it'd be the utmost technical, like, getting in the ring. Let's tie up, let's hammerlock, chin lock, all the things we love, right? But they are fighting in the ring. I mean, not in the ring, out of the ring. Chairs, trash cans. They're getting thrown up against the walls in the hallway, in the corridor. Gabe Sapolsky on commentary, like, I'm getting nervous because Homicide he's a caged animal, an uncaged animal. He's a rabid dog. He's a Rottweiler. At some point during this brouhaha, Julius Smokes, who's out there with Homicide, runs into the cameraman, and the camera goes out. And Gabe on commentary is like, we lost the footage. Cut to the Jim Cornette promo. As if it was live or something. I don't know. But so the match doesn't get underway smoothly, so we have to take a break, go to this Jim Cornette promo so we can get our bearings, which I guess we'll talk about now. So it cuts to this pre-tape from Jim Cornette backstage. Now, if you recall, I believe it was Final Battle. Was it Final Battle or was it the show before it? I don't know. But Jim Cornette had an altercation in the ring with Bobby the Brain Heenan, which was a sight to see. It was a hell of a segment. Loved it. But Cornette's still salty about it. Bobby Heenan got the better of him. There was a match afterward where there was a match after their promo off, I suppose you could call it. where they both, were in the corner of their respective tag teams, and Bobby's team got the win. So Bobby got one up on old Jim Cornette. So Cornette's pissed. He challenges Bobby Heenan to meet him in the ring once again next month. He says, Vince couldn't kill you, Bobby. WCW couldn't kill you. Cancer couldn't kill you. But Jim Cornette, he's going to put you out of this business. Good stuff. Good stuff. And then it cuts back to your regularly scheduled program. Bryan Danielson versus Homicide. I recall before they were brawling in the ring. You couldn't hold these guys down. They were in the crowd. They were throwing chairs at each other. They were just causing a ruckus. Now we're back in the ring and they're tying up. How do you just cool that down? You know what I mean? I didn't love the juxtaposition of them brawling in the crowd and then just abruptly cutting back to them, like slowly like tying up, collar and elbow tie up after that. Are you kidding me? It was a little bit of a disconnect, I thought, but ultimately, who cares? You got Bryan Danielson versus Homicide. Very, very fun match here. So once again, it is a tap out match. So you have to make your opponent tap out to win. And like I said, it's a pretty good match here. I mean, I think the one hindrance of this being the first out of a best of 5 series is that you kind of get the sense that they might be saving themselves in a sense. Like, these guys definitely have more in the tank than what we got here. Now, it was a pretty good match. Weird kind of pacing issues aside that I discussed earlier, but it was a fine match. It was, it was just a fine match. And I feel like these guys have more than a fine match in them. Although I will say, watching this, and I'm always captivated when I go back and I watch early to mid 2000s Ring of Honor. Bryan Danielson, he has the most compelling way to grapple fuck. You guys know what grapple fucking is, right? It's the Zack Sabre Jr. type thing. It's Pete Dunne. It's like the quote unquote technical wrestling, the digit manipulation, getting in there, the chain wrestling, various submissions, transition from one move to the other. Nobody has or will ever do it better than Bryan Danielson, because you have this just fire plug of a dude. He does like relatively basic things just so well. He's just stretching Homicide from every orifice in his body. He does this crazy like figure 4 bridge. It's kind of like a figure 8, but it's like a Indian deathlock type of thing. I don't know. It just looks sick the way he bridges. But by the way, he like wraps the legs of Homicide within his legs. It's like, oh, he's going for a figure 4 or something. But then he bridges back, arches his neck and his wrists, and he just yanks on it. The crowd comes when he does that. Pause. But man, he's just so good at it. That's what makes him good. It's not the fact that he can get into these moves, because anybody can learn moves. It's the way to pace it. He paces it in a way that he like builds and builds, and he builds on the moves, and he adds little twists and things to it that makes it so it makes it look painful and devastating, which ultimately should be the goal of any wrestling match. So, but at the same time, he'll just bust out an airplane spin. Bryan fucking Danielson, 2005. What a time to be alive. And he hits this airplane spin, an enormous amount of spins. Drops Homicide. He drops him. And Danielson's still dizzy. So he goes for this running hesitation drop kick. Just an explosive kick, but it's on the complete opposite side of the ring where Homicide is, because he's so disoriented. It's weird. There's like little comedy spots in this match after it's supposed to be like a blood feud. Again, it's just this match feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be. Maybe. I don't know. Homicide comes back, works the arm of Danielson, hits a divorce court arm breaker, some arm submissions, which makes sense because Homicide's been building up this new finisher of his, which is basically just a Kimura. But he's working the arm of Danielson, goes for that Kimura. Danielson fights out of it. Homicide goes to the top rope, but his leg has been worked on. I was talking about the figure 4 deal earlier. Danielson was working the leg of Homicide hard. So when Homicide goes to the top rope, his leg prevents him from going up there quickly. So Danielson's able to capitalize with a superplex, locks in another figure four. This brings Julius Smokes, who's Homicide's boy. Julius gets on the top rope to try to break it up, but Danielson goes over, tosses him to the mat. Julius gets out of there with the help of Rocky Romero, who's also out there. Rottweilers are in full effect here. Homicide with a butterfly suplex into the Kimura. Capitalizes on this distraction, and this forces Danielson to tap out. One more again. Homicide taps out Bryan Danielson with the Kimura lock. Crazy. I mean, Homicide's a great technical wrestler, but you never think of him in that way. He's the brawler. He's kind of a high flyer. Him to tap out, Mr. Doesn't Bryan Danielson have like an award named after him for like the Wrestling Observer newsletter deal? Like, he's the technical guy, and the fact that he's getting tapped out by a guy in baggy pleather shorts and a bandana is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy, but that's where we're at. So Homicide wins their first of 5 matches. I think the psychology of this makes sense, though, because Danielson wouldn't want to go into the rest of the series with a broken arm. So it makes sense from a psychology standpoint. I am curious as if there's going to be any stakes in this best of 5 series. I would assume whoever comes out the victor ultimately would get a world title shot, but I don't know. It feels like they just hand out title shots willy-nilly. So it's like, why do I don't know. But whatever. Hopefully the stakes get established in the next match. It's possible that I missed it here, but I don't think there's any like definitive stakes involved. It seems like more of like a blood feud type of situation, a personal vendetta that just happens to have manifested into a best of 5 series. So whatever the case is, it was a good match. Not a lot to say about it, but after the we're not done here though. We're not done here, because after the match, Homicide gets the win. The Rottweilers get in there. Rocky Romero, Julius Smokes, Homicide still there. They all beat down on Danielson after the bell. Homicide puts on some brass knuckles. He grabs the mic and he says, "There ain't gonna be more matches in this series because your career, Bryan Danielson, is going to end right now with a punch with brass knuckles, a move that has been known to end careers." Goes to punch Bryan, but Bryan with a boot up to block it. John Wicks both Rocky Romero and Julius. Ching chang bang boom, gets them out of there. Bryan grabs the brass knucks that fell from Homicide's hands, puts them on, and knocks out Homicide with these brass knuckles. By God. So you have Homicide tapping out Danielson, and then you have Danielson using brass knucks on Homicide. Boy, howdy, how the turns have tabled. What is this, Freaky Friday or something? I don't even know if that reference makes sense. But Danielson grabs the mic and he says, "Homicide, you might have beat me in my match, but I'm going to fight you in yours. The next match in this series is going to be a taped fist match." I know it's like an old school thing, man. This is stupid. Was Jim Duggan going to come out here? Is Jim Duggan going to be the special guest referee, huh? You have Hacksaw out there with his loose wrist tape to show him how to do it. So stupid. They always wear wrist tape. I guess maybe they don't, but I don't know. Whatever. There's going to be more punching in the next match, I guess, is what that means. But I don't know. Maybe they'll make something out of it. I do like the story of each guy kind of getting the upper hand on their opponent's kind of forte. Like I mentioned, Homicide winning in the technical environment, and maybe Danielson will win in the brawling department here. So only time will tell. But until then, we have 2 more Well, technically, we only have 1 more match to cover, but we have 2 more brouhahas, I guess, to discuss. The first of which being the technical main event of this show. We have the Ring of Honor World Championship on the line. The new champion, Austin Aries, defending against Colt Cabana. Reminder, this was set up in the beginning of the show. We still got a lot of Generation Next Second City Saints feudage going on here, which this is kind of an extension of that. Of course, Aries being a Generation Next member, Colt Cabana being a Second City Saints member, but also Colt Cabana, he's trying to get revenge on Austin Aries for trying to break his leg or his arm, whatever it was last time they were here in Boston. So some personal issues involved here, and just ultimately it's just very interesting to see a world title match without Samoa Joe in it. It's been a very long time since we've talked about a Ring of Honor world title match sans Samoa Joe. It's been a couple of years now, so interesting to take a look at this. Now, again, speaking of interesting, it's a very interesting first opponent for Austin Aries. I guess we have the personal vendetta, the feud kind of undertones here. Also, Colt Cabana was one of the few men that did pin Samoa Joe during his reign. It was a non-title match, but Colt Cabana got a pin over Samoa Joe. Small package deal, I think. It was like some sort of gauntlet situation. So maybe these are just two guys that have beat Samoa Joe. Let's get it on here. And I was curious to see. I talked about this in the beginning a little bit. I was curious to see if Aries would continue to wrestle as a babyface as he did in the previous match with Samoa Joe. But that was not the case here, because the bell rings. Aries says, actually before the bell rings, Aries grabs the mic. He says he will not start this match without a handshake, which is very ironic because Generation Next hates handshakes. Also, with the personal issues involved here, it's kind of kind of an insulting deal to be like, no, shake my hand, you cunt. But whatever, they shake hands. Aries goes for the cheap shot, but Colt sees it coming, and we're off to the races. But Aries scurries. You thought we were off to the races, but we are not. Aries skedaddles, grabs the mic again, and he's like, hey, this isn't about fists. It's about wrestling. Says the guy who, in his last match with Samoa Joe, just punted him in the face before he beat him. But I digress. Aries just wants a clean technical match, even though he's implementing fish hooking and all this shit in it. Ultimately, though, this is a pretty underwhelming match. Austin Aries versus Colt Cabana, which is a bummer. I don't know if it's because Aries is being the chicken shit throughout most of this match. I just don't know if that really favors Aries' style. Like Austin Aries, like his whole thing is like he's explosive, he's fast paced, boom boom combinations, big kicks, high flying. But now we got Aries just kind of being like the I don't know, like a 2007 Edge or something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really fit what he is capable of. It does. The style doesn't match the tools in his toolbox, basically. So I don't know. Aries at some point goes for the drop kick, or he hits the drop kick, the big running drop kick in the corner, goes for the 450. Colt gets out of the way, and Colt is able to hit a few. Colt Cabana is so fun to watch in the ring, man. I know he's mainly known for his comedy and his charisma. But no, Colt had some. I mean, he hits this like spinning razor's edge that looked sick. Big Asai moonsault to the outside, and this causes Aries to try to crawl to the back. He's crawling literally up the ramp. He's trying to get out of there, but Colt brings him back. Hits the Colt 45 in the ring, but Aries gets his foot on the ropes to break up the pin. By the way, did I say this earlier? I don't know. Rope spots almost never look good. Am I the only one that's like, it feels like it's always telegraphed? Because somebody will hit their move and then the guy will like awkwardly shuffle towards the ropes, and then the guy pinning grabs the leg that he never grabs so that the other leg can get on the ropes. It always looks like shit, man. Like, we need to figure out better ways to do rope spots. I mean, people have figured it out a little bit, the over rotation into the ropes, or I don't know, man. We got to figure it out. Aries on the outside hits a brain buster on the ramp. brainbuster in quotes because it was a suplex. He has a suplex on the ramp. Gabe Sapolsky on commentary busts all of the nuts in his body. We get out dangerous. He's the commentary. There's like, he just broke his neck on that steel ramp. It was a suplex. He suplexed him on the ramp. Commentary is losing their minds, but the crowd is not because they're seeing what I'm seeing. And that was it, the whole match. There were some fun moves here, but the match just had no heat throughout the entire match, and even to this spot, which was the pivotal spot in the match. This suplex on the ramp, what was supposed to be we'll call it a brain buster, okay? Because that's what it was supposed to be, but it wasn't. Brain buster on the ramp. Medics and referees come out to check on Colt. The match comes to a halt. Might have to end the match. He's injured. His neck's broken. He's paralyzed. That's what's being communicated to us. Most of the crowd, by the way, didn't even see what happened because it's Ring of Honor. We're in an armory. They don't have fucking, jumbotrons to show what's happening across the arena. A lot of people just heard a metal clang and don't even know what happened. So that really also ails this angle here because a lot of the crowd doesn't even understand what's going on. Commentary says that 911 has been called, which is whatever. Colt, though, slowly, he recovers. He crawls. He slowly crawls to the ring. He wants to get in there. He wants that Ring of Honor world title. Aries tries to pick him up. He's having trouble, though, because Colt is dead weight. They're in the ring. Colt's made his way into the ring. Aries is trying to pick him up. He's trying to pick up this stout gentleman, Colt Cabana, up, but he's dead weight. He can't even hold his body with a small package. 1, 2, kick out. Oh, that got me. That was a really good spot here. I bit. I was like, I know Colt Cabana was never Ring of Honor World Champion, but I was like, maybe I'm misremembering. But it was not to be. Small package to Aries, big kick to the head, brain buster, 450, 1, 2, 3. Austin Aries retains the Ring of Honor World title in his first defense as a result of that brain buster on the ramp. Colt got a quick, hope spot here, but then Aries shut him down, got the win here. And it was, I don't know. Again, just watching this match, it was just heatless, unfortunately. I don't know if people necessarily buy Austin Aries as world champion, unfortunately. At least this version of him, the style he was trying to implement, this heel chicken shit, I don't know if he was the guy for that here. If you want to make him this plucky underdog, not really plucky underdog, but just like fan favorite guy, fun to watch, maybe that has some legs here, but I don't know. We're trying to, continue this blood feud between the Saints and Generation Next, so I get it. It's an intro match to his title reign, sure. Doesn't have to be the huge box office thing, but like this could have been better. This could have been a lot better, I think. So yeah. Main event is over, but the show is not even close, pal, because we got somebody coming out after that match. Who? Bang bang! Mick Foley. Mitchell Foley comes out here. By the way, when Aries and Colt, when the match started, like their entrances started, there was like an hour left in the show. I was like, are these guys gonna have like an hour-long match? But was not to be, because there's a whole other segment here. Mick Foley comes out, grabs the mic. Now, as a reminder, Mick Foley's, he's made a few appearances here in Ring of Honor. Doing stuff with, I believe, Ricky Steamboat. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, a bunch of stuff with Ricky Steamboat. Promos, just confrontations, because they obviously, I don't even know if they're legally allowed to have a match, those two, with like the Lloyds of London and the WWE, everything combined there. So they didn't really have matches, but they had a lot of promo battles. Mick Foley has had some interactions with like the Carnage crew and Moff and Whitmer. We had him dubbing Ring of Honor as Ring of Hardcore, which people hated, and then he rescinded. So it's been a fun journey watching this Mick Foley Ring of Honor run. which has been it's just seeing Mick Foley in a Ring of Honor scenario, seeing him in an armory full of 600 people is just very funny. At this point in his career, is it's kind of a fish out of water deal, but not really because it's all of his ECW stuff. So it weirdly kind of makes sense, but whatever. So Mick Foley's out here. Him and Joe have beef. Joe of the Samoan variety. Samoa Joe. He Foley, he was praising Samoa Joe. There was a whole situation of, Joe didn't want to face CM Punk again, but then Foley kind of goaded him into it. He kind of basically called him a pussy for not wanting to face Punk again, and that kind of led him into the third match in their trilogy. But there's been a lot of disrespect thrown in both directions between Joe and Foley here. And we are kind of coming to a head here. So Mick Foley comes out and he says, I have a gift for Samoa Joe. I have something to give Samoa Joe. And you can see Foley, he's holding what looks like a t-shirt or something, or a black bag, or some loose black cloth of some sort. So Foley calls out Joe. Joe comes out. No music or anything, just storms out there, gets into the ring, gets right in Foley's face. Foley gives him the shirt. Joe opens the shirt. What is it? It's a Cactus Jack shirt. Sensational. Because I guess Joe's a big fan or something. I don't know. But maybe that's symbolic, because Foley continues on. He says, Joe, I'm going to offer you an opportunity to face Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I'm watching this. Of course, we know in hindsight this never happened. But man, if I was sitting here in the beginning of 2005, the premise of Samoa Joe going to WWE and facing Triple H, which at this point in the timeline, he's world champion. Who is he facing? I think he's still feuding with Randy Orton. He's about to feud with Batista. Like, we're in that era of Triple H, world champion still. The premise of 2005 Samoa Joe facing 2005 Triple H. I mean, that is just it would, if it happened in WWE, it would definitely be a WWE match. Unfortunately, it would definitely be a Triple H, I gotta play the game type of match. It would be a fucking 30-minute just bear hug, chin lock, knee bar situation with, a hot final 3 minutes. It'd be a Triple H match, unfortunately. But man, imagine Triple H came to Ring of Honor. Let's go to the Rexplex and have Triple H versus Samoa Joe. Suck me until I pass out. That might be pretty sick, actually. What could have been? But back here, Foley, he has an opportunity for him to face Samoa Joe, or for Samoa Joe to face Triple H for the world title. More so an opportunity to face Triple H, because Foley is offering Samoa Joe a slot in the 2005 Royal Rumble match. Come on now, baby. Imagine. I mean, you have, say, the final, maybe Samoa Joe is in the final 2 or in the final 3 with Batista and John Cena. He would have made that whole situation with Vince blowing his quads all the more explosive. It would have been something, but obviously never happened. By the way, it could have been, who's to say Samoa Joe wouldn't win the Rumble and challenge JBL? Which, weirdly, I feel like that would be a better match than Joe and Triple H. Thoughts? Samoa Joe versus JBL or Samoa Joe versus Triple H? What do you guys think? Joe versus Bradshaw really just hits me. Bull rope match, maybe. King of the Road match, something, right? That could be a lot of fun, but Foley, the whole point here is that he's talking about basically Joe has more potential than what he has reached here in Ring of Honor, which is very, very bold, considering we are fresh off the heels of Joe's almost 2-year title reign, dominating the company for 20 months plus, really. even outside of his title reign. Foley says that he made Vince McMahon watch a Ring of Honor DVD, which I have a hard time believing, but the thought of it is pretty hilarious. You're telling me that Foley made Vince watch a 3-hour show? You telling me that Vince McMahon was watching Dunn and Marcos versus fucking whoever versus Special K? Was Vince McMahon watching a Special K match? How about a Carnage Crew match? Was Vince McMahon in his office with his dumb dinosaur statue behind him watching Xavier or John Walters? I don't know, but from the story that Foley is telling, apparently Vince liked it. Mick says that Vince was into it. He was popping for the right places. He was up for what he needed to be up for. He enjoyed it. And Vince McMahon apparently said that Samoa Joe would be perfect for WWE. Now, and this is the words of Mick Foley, he's relaying what Vince was saying. He said that, Vince said that, Joe, he would have to tone down his style, which, just step back for a second, this is all happening in a Ring of Honor show, right? So you have the Ring of Honor faithfuls listening to this, and they are not too happy with Mick Foley. Because Foley's saying that Joe would have to tone down his style if he were to go to WWE. In WWE, we already got a guy that hurts people for real. His name is Rob Van Dam. And we saw what happened to his push, so that would probably happen to Samoa Joe as well. Vince said that we'd have to cover up that fat piece of shit. That's a quote. If we wanted to see droopy tits, he'd hire a 50-year-old woman, which Samoa Joe was not too happy to hear that. Gets in Foley's face. Foley continues, though. He says, Vince, if Joe were to come into WWE, he couldn't be Samoa Joe. He'd have to be like Wild Animal Joe or Fish Eating Joe. He's Samoan, so he'd have to have a stink face as his finisher, which the crowd is getting like, it's the fuck you Foley sentiment is growing with each sentence that he says. Joe, at this point, he's pissed. His shirt's off. He corners Foley. He says to Foley, unless you have something else to say, you better get the hell out of here. Then Foley has more things to say. He starts, because he was just shitting on Joe a little bit, like kind of in a veiled way, kind of like in a third person way, but it's kind of just shitting on Joe. Now, Foley starts to shit on Ring of Honor as a whole. So this is the direction we're going. We're going heel Foley here. Foley says, hey, Joe, look, you can have these performances in this bullshit armory in front of 600 people, but can you do it in arenas? Can you do it in front of multi-million-dollar equipment, the cameras, the spectacle? Can you do it on live television? No, not this DVD bullshit that you're doing here. Can you do it on network TV? Crowd is not happy with this. Samoa Joe, not happy with this. Foley says, hey, it's your choice, Joe. Are you gonna just try to win the title again? That's his tone he has, by the way. He's like, what, you just gonna, win the Ring of Honor title again? Whip-de-doo, he says. Foley says, do you want to do that? Or do you want to be a WWE superstar? The Royal Rumble spot is on the table. Do you want to take it, Joe? Joe says, you know what, Mick Foley? You're right. You're right about everything. I do want to face a WWE superstar. But that superstar is not Triple H. That superstar is you, Foley. Joe is challenging Mick Foley to a match here. Mick Foley says, you can't pay me enough. I can go out and wrestle in front of millions on TV. I'm not going to wrestle in this armory for a DVD release. I'm not going to wrestle in front of these people. Bam! Mic shot from Foley to Samoa Joe. All of this, you would think Samoa Joe would brew over and attack Foley, but Foley shits on Joe verbally, shits on Ring of Honor, and then knocks Joe out. Dude, this mic shot, bang, 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 continuous shots with the microphone. Backs Joe in the corner. Foley's beating on Samoa Joe in the corner, but then Joe turns him around, puts Foley in the corner. Bop, bop, bop. Fast strikes, kicks, chops, big enziguri. Are we seeing Samoa Joe versus Mick Foley? Kinda. It's not an official match, but this is a sight to see. This is I think as close as we'll ever get to seeing these guys have a match with each other. They're brawling on the outside. Joe is finally taking advantage here. He has the advantage. He's beating on Foley. Foley tries to crawl back through the entranceway. He's crawling up the ramp, much like Aries was in the last match. Foley's trying to get out of there. He's crawling. He's trying to get away. Joe grabs him. Bam! Foley snuck a chair, smashes Samoa Joe in the face with it. A few more chair shots from Foley to Joe's back. Drops the chair. Foley grabs Joe, picks him up, yells, "Here's some sports entertainment for you." Throws Joe through the metal barricade. 2005 version of Mick Foley, the author Mick Foley, is beating up pretty handedly 2005 Samoa Joe, peak arguably Samoa Joe, at the height of his physical capabilities, off his 20-month title reign, just getting beat up by this old WWE guy. And here's the problem, right? Here's the beyond that's a problem in itself. Here's the bigger problem here. The crowd is loving it. Foley just spent like 15 minutes shitting on Ring of Honor, shitting on the fans, and now the fans are still cheering Foley, kicking the shit out of Samoa Joe. This is all out of whack. Because Foley is the WWE guy. Joe is the ultimate Ring of Honor guy. He's the representation of Ring of Honor, what this company represents, what the fans want. But for some reason, the crowd is cheering Mick Foley on for beating up Samoa Joe. The math ain't math in here. I don't know what's going on, but this it's not good. None of this is good for those reasons. It's fascinating to watch. Huge Foley chants. They get back in the ring. Foley hits Joe with a double arm DDT in the middle of the ring to a huge pop. Bang, bang. Cheers. And that's it. Samoa Joe is just laid out in the middle of the ring, knocked the fuck out. He just got his ass kicked by Mick Foley. And Foley leaves. Bang, bang. See you later, geek. Skedaddle. That's how the show ends. Well, kind of. That's how the stuff within the arena ends. So Foley walks away. As he's walking away, he whips out his flip phone to presumably talk to Vince McMahon or somebody from WWE. I don't know. He kicks the shit out of Joe, whips out his phone, and walks away. Foley comes out looking like the biggest badass on earth, and Joe he's just a jobber, brother. Job city. It was rough, but this seems to be a thing that's going to continue. So I would assume Joe gets his lick back at some point, but coming out of this show is like, we're pretty dire here, pretty dire. And then it cuts to a later moment in the night where Foley is backstage. He's on the phone with whoever he was on the phone with. Let's just take a listen to this backstage segment here. You got Mick Foley in the locker room and talking to somebody on the phone. Who it is? Well, that's for us to figure out.
Yeah. No. I know he hits hard, but it wasn't that easy.
Champion.
Yeah. No. I know he hits hard, but it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that bad. Easier than I thought. Yeah. He was right there with the chair. Yeah. All I had to do was ask. It was awesome. You sure you want to do this? You sure you want to come in? It's a little dive in Jersey, Rexplex or something like that. But you'll do it. It's gonna be awesome. Let's see how good Samoa Joe does against a real WWE superstar.
Hold on, can we? If you're watching on YouTube, you can visualize it. But even if you're just listening, the really awkward pause between the end of his sentence and the actual close of the show. It was listen again.
WWE superstar.
That was like 7 seconds, brother. What are we doing? Oh, you could have cut it a little. I don't know. You could have made that tighter, but whatever. So somebody's coming in at the next show or the next month, whatever, to I guess challenge Samoa Joe. So we'll figure out who that is in the next episode here. Also, by the way, we have a promo here from Cabana, which I guess while we're here, we might as well take a listen to as well. Which, like, I watched this before. I'll watch it again. It's sometimes it's just hard to take Cabana seriously because he's such like an uber comedic guy. Like he can go in the ring, but his promos, it always feels tongue in cheek. It always feels like he doesn't believe what he's saying. Listen and see if you share the same sentiment as I do here.
The Ring of Honor champion, the man of honor. That's your thing, huh? The champion. You're the best.
All right. Already it's worse than I remember. Oh, let's continue.
Man with the most honor. The best wrestler in the ring. Ethics, morals, professional wrestling. Well, Austin Aries, you took on my shoulder last time in Boston. This time you're taking out my neck. And you're doing it on the outside of the ring with weapons, chairs, stages. Aries, let's do it in the ring, Aries.
Also looks like he's reading cue cards, but whatever.
Let's settle it the old-fashioned way. February 19th, the kickoff of the 3rd anniversary of Ring of Honor. It means something, and you know it because you're the champ. Let's kick it off. I know there's a steel cage that's being built that night, Aries. I'm not going to let you leave that ring. I dare you, Austin Aries. I double dog dare you. Accept my challenge. A steel cage, Elizabeth, New Jersey. You cannot leave. You cannot put me out of my misery on the outside of the ring. You have to do it on the inside. We will be surrounded by steel 15 feet high. I dare you. Accept my challenge. Steel cage and watch Cabana dominate you in the ring and become the new Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion.
So, like, all of the words are fine. Like, what he's saying, I don't really have a problem with. It's just the tone. It just feels like he's on the brink of laughing through all of it. So maybe that's why Cabana was never world champion. I just don't know if I could really believe what he's saying when it comes to a very personal issue like this. And it's just not gripping me. It's not gripping me, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that steel cage match will be great. But there's only one way to find out, folks. And that is to continue listening to the Apron Bump podcast. Make sure you subscribe, follow, all of that stuff. I appreciate everybody tuning in, listening, watching, tasting, all of that stuff. It all begins again. Pretty good show, ultimately. It definitely felt kind of almost like a prologue to the year in some ways. It definitely set up some things coming in the future. The third anniversary is coming up next month, which is going to be a 3-night event. I've glanced at the cards here, at least the first night, and they're stacking this bad boy. So there's going to be a lot happening next month. It might even, depending on what happens, might end up being a 2-part situation here. I might do like the first half of the month and then the second half. We'll see. But lots of fun stuff. 2005 Ring of Honor. I'm pumped. I have not a lot of knowledge of what happens here this year. I know like some things happen. I don't know like where in the timeline they happen. I don't know who comes in at what point. I know certain title changes that happen. I know some things, but for the 95% at least, I'm in the dark about, and I've heard so many good things about this year of Ring of Honor. So, and it's only gotten better every year. So it's a fun time watching and hopefully a fun time listening about. So with that, I think that is about all Daddy has for you guys today. Make sure you subscribe, follow, like, rate, review, kiss me on the mouth, spit in my ear, spank me on the ass, and do all those things. And yeah, with that, I'll bid you adieu. Mwah. I'm hard.
Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.